We're back with part 2 of our B74.1 series, where we started with a box full of parts in part 1 and turned them into a proper off-road race car. But we never drove it. Well, today that changes. Our buggy is 100% complete, 100% ready to hit the track, and 100% ready to go full send with its 6.5 turn modified motor. So how did the buggy do? Let's find out. Yes, we've driven the buggy, and yes, it's fast. But before we get ahead of ourselves, in part 1 we left you off with a buggy that wasn't complete and it needed some work to be done. It needed the transponder to be installed. That's done. It needed the Velcro to be added to the body to secure it to the chassis. That's done. And it also needed the chassis protector to be installed. And that's done too. And then there were a few little things. We had to bind to our Rud Dog receiver because it was brand new. We had to calibrate our 510R ESC. And then lastly, we had to set up this new steering rack in these new cars. And there's a particular order to do it. Now with your transmitter, you need to find the very center point of that steering rack using your sub trims. I found that it's pretty easy to do if you rotate the outdrive cup so the set screw points straight up, and then you can use that as a guide to get the rack with the 2 lines right in the center of that outdrive. Once the steering rack has been centered, then you can set your endpoint adjustments for your left and right side. And then lastly, you can make your toe link adjustments if needed. Now this is the strategy that was outlined by world champion RC racer Spencer Rivkin on his B74 steering upgrade video on his YouTube channel. Now it's a great watch and it has a whole lot more information on that rack and its effects and why it's been added. So you should definitely check it out if you're interested. But keep in mind that it's an older video that's referring to the original B74 and adding the optional J-Concepts plus 3mm steering rack, which would later be evolved to be a similar rack that's included with the .1 cars. So it's an old video, but the information is still relevant and really good. And for anybody who has one of those original B74s, that J-Concept steering rack is a great upgrade. Now with that, this B74.1 is complete. It's ready to hit the track and even be raced. But first, how much does it weigh? Well, we fired up the scale and put the buggy on. It was 1,748 grams. If you add the body, which the weight can vary depending on how much paint, decals, and Velcro you add, but with the body, the total weight was 1,773 grams. So our body weighs about 25 grams. Not bad. Now to the track.
Okay, let's turn it on and do our first shakedown. But make sure it goes straight. The basics.
This was our first experience driving this buggy on a brand new track layout with brand new tires on new carpet. So we pretty much had no idea what to expect. The first few laps were a little shaky, trying to learn the new track layout and get comfortable with a brand new car that has a 6.5 turn motor in it. We used the carpet setup that was included with the buggy and it feels amazing. The buggy is quick and it's nimble. It gives me the feeling it's just kind of effortlessly gliding around the track wanting to go fast, and I'm just slowing it down. The 2-wheel drive B6.2 makes me feel like a pro driver, and this 4-wheel drive makes me feel like a noob. My whole self-identity is dissolving as I drive. Who am I? I will say, if you're used to driving a stock 2-wheel drive buggy, a modified 4-wheel drive buggy is a quick wake-up call. With our stock B6.2 on this carpet, you can push that car 150% and stay in control. Given it does have a 17.5 turn motor in it, but the car only needs you to set it up for the turns with nice sweeping lines, and it'll swing right around the tightest turns. But with this 4-wheel drive, You don't really need to set up for the turns at all because it just turns on a dime at any speed. I didn't say it wouldn't traction roll though, but it certainly has amazing cornering and steering abilities. In fact, the car could carry around turns so fast that there were moments where I was just trying to keep up like the car was driving me. Now don't get me wrong, the car feels amazing, but the steering is a little too aggressive.
All right, we're here with Kevin Jallett. He takes care of our tracks, the facilities here. We're gonna try some different front tires, see if it helps remove some traction and prevents traction rolling. Front end's numb, less traction, pushes a little bit. It's way easier to drive. So we're gonna try these on the front next. The Hoosiers, these are like a sprint car oval tire. We'll give it a shot. Yeah, I think these are better. It still has a little bit of push, but like not nearly as bad.
Having the right tires for your car is so important, and we definitely need to step up our tire game. But I don't feel so bad about what happened, and it was not a unique experience for this buggy. Kevin was telling me at the track that all four-wheel drive buggies suffer from aggressive front ends on that particular type of carpet, and the secret setup or tuning trick is to put on worn out front tires. And of course, we've got a little bit of a conflict there because our tires are brand new, so the car does feel a bit edgy. We do have a tire plan to combat this, but we'll get to that in a minute. When we finally returned from the track and came back, we did a little slipper maintenance on our buggy. On page 15 of the manual, you'll notice it recommends you disassemble the slipper and wipe down the Octalock pads after your first track day. So we did. The pads had a little sign of slippage, but they looked good and clean, other than all the small fibers from the paper towels. It was probably not the best idea, and a lint-free microfiber cloth would have been a better solution. Now, something funny from episode 1 was a comment from one of you guys. A guy named Clive said, you guys should maybe be using a servo that isn't discontinued because this Reedy servo is. And I couldn't agree more with you, Clive. I don't know how a discontinued servo ended up in this car, but ugh. So, Clive, we're gonna send you this servo. We're gonna send it to you free. It's yours. Please take it off our hands, because we picked up a ProTech 160 TBL low profile servo, and it's pretty freaking amazing. Not only is this faster and stronger, but it's full aluminum and it's available. So the plan is we're gonna swap the servos. We're gonna use the aluminum servo grommets that are included with the 160, and we're gonna ditch the rubber grommets we put on that Reedy servo. The ProTech also includes an aluminum servo horn, but we're not gonna use that. Now, if you're curious on weights, that full-size Reedy servo was 68 grams, and the ProTech 160 TBL is 54 grams, which means our vehicle weights have changed. Our buggy is now 1734 grams or 1759 with the body. Now back to tires. Check out this picture. I don't know whose car this is, but those front tires have been heavily modified. Now check out this picture and these hacked up front tires. These pictures are from the EOS Euro Off-Road series, where these guys spend a lot of time carpet racing. So I think we're gonna do something similar with our front tires. Now we wanna keep using these wide stagger rib tires. We just bought them and they work really well on that carpet, but a little too good. So I think we can modify them to make them work better. So what I'm thinking here is we could take a Dremel and we can sand down this outside edge of knobbies, the really big knobbies here, and having those gone could remove some of the the edginess when turning. We could try that. We could try also removing the inside edge afterwards. We could just completely snip these knobbies off instead of sanding them over. We have a lot of really good options to try here. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do because we're gonna save it for part 3. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave us any questions or comments down below. I'm Brett from AMain Hobbies. Thanks for watching.